fake this relationship is. And things are starting to crumble. And I told you the team been talking. They've been talking. They've been telling me everything. They even tell me who Steve's side bitch was. You know, we put her out. She vegan and she don't wear no panties.
So Steve Harvey, Marjorie Harvey videos, and people were telling me, they said, you gotta look into Jimmy Townsend. He's out.
The media is going crazy over Tasha K's interview with Jim Townsend, and people cannot stop talking about it. Before anyone even hears Jim's full side, there's already a preview of what Tasha K is about to drop, and it is not light at all. She's teasing details that sound messy, personal, and impossible to ignore. This is not just another sit-down interview. It feels like something way bigger is about to explode. The energy around this is tense, almost electric, and everyone is locked in, waiting to see what hits next. If you've been keeping up, then you already know the drama tied to Jim Townsend and the claims he made about his ex-wife, Marjorie Harvey. This situation didn't just pop up for no reason. It's been making headlines because it's far from clean or simple. What's being hinted at goes deep, with serious accusations, emotional tension, and a relationship that clearly had major cracks beneath the surface. This is not some polished, perfect image story. It's layered, complicated, and has people seriously questioning what really went down behind closed doors. Now, Tasha K is stepping in strong with what she says are her own findings, and she's not holding back at all. She's pushing hard, claiming she uncovered details that point to secrets, betrayal, and actions that have people raising their eyebrows fast. The way she's hinting at everything makes it sound intense, like there's way more beneath the surface than anyone expected, and it's all about to come out loud. What exactly did she find out about Marjorie? That's the question keeping everyone locked in, watching closely to see just how far this story might go. To really understand it, you have to look back at Marjorie's past relationships, because this is where things start to get very interesting. Both Steve and Marjorie have been married before, but it's her first marriage that keeps people talking and raising questions. This is the point where the story shifts, and the details begin to stand out in a big way. The timeline, the decisions, and the people involved all stack up, creating layers that are hard to ignore. Marjorie was 18 when she met Jim, and there was a clear age gap, with Jim being 14 years older and already married at that time. That alone had people looking twice, but the story does not stop there. In an interview with Tasha K, Jim shared his perspective, and it brought fresh attention to parts of the story that had not been widely discussed before. His version adds another angle that people are now trying to piece together carefully. According to Jim, he felt that Marjorie was very determined in how she approached the relationship and strongly pushed for him to leave his wife. He also claimed that she made choices that quickly deepened their connection. There are allegations that she stopped using contraceptives, which he believes was part of an effort to change the situation. These are serious claims, and they remain part of his account of what he says happened during that time, adding even more tension to an already intense story. Jim ended up fully committed to the relationship, and after about 3 years together, they got married. What started off strong did not last, though, because the marriage eventually fell apart after 7 years. Things shifted fast, and what once looked stable began to crack in a very public way. The image of a solid relationship started breaking down, and people could not ignore the change. But the story does not end there. Jim was never seen as just an average husband, and his name had already been linked to serious activity, which raised a lot of concern. People started talking about his connections and the type of dealings he was reportedly involved in, adding a whole new layer to the situation. This was no longer just relationship drama, it felt tied to something much bigger and more serious. Then everything took another sharp turn when Jim was reportedly caught up in a major case involving a large amount of illegal substances. Reports mentioned around 40 kilograms, which only made the situation sound even more intense. At that point, people started asking questions, wondering who knew what and whether Marjorie had any involvement at all. If you think that is where it peaks, it actually goes deeper. Marjorie has strongly denied having any involvement or knowledge of those activities, standing firm on her side of the story. But Jim's interview paints a very different picture, as he claims she knew more than people believe, and even suggests she played a key role in what he says was happening behind the scenes. That contrast is exactly what has people questioning everything and trying to figure out who is really telling the truth. According to Jim, she was not just aware of what was going on. He describes her as someone he trusted closely, someone right there in the middle of it all. The way he tells it, he paints a picture of her being heavily involved. And that is a serious claim that adds major weight to an already intense situation. He also made it clear that this is only a small piece of what he plans to reveal, teasing even more details that have not been made public yet. Now the focus is shifting to what could come next, because the attention around these claims is building fast. The curiosity keeps growing as people start wondering what else might come out and how it could completely shift public perception. Up to this point, Marjorie has presented herself as a strong and caring figure within her family, especially when it comes to Steve's children. But here is where things take another sharp turn. The description of Jim's book already has people talking, and the wording alone feels heavy. He says, quote, "You'll get a front row seat to see what it's like to face violence during my marriage to Marjorie, current wife of actor, comedian Steve Harvey, and greed, and how it can impact someone's life," unquote. That kind of statement is grabbing attention fast and making people wonder just how much more he is planning to reveal. Looking back, things became even more complicated when Jim was dealing with serious legal pressure. Authorities were watching closely and started raising questions about whether Marjorie had any connection to what was happening at that time, adding even more tension to the story. That moment added even more tension to an already messy situation, with people trying to figure out who was involved and who was not. During his interview with Tasha K, Jim made it a point to defend Marjorie, clearly saying she did not know the full extent of his actions. He stood firm on that statement, even while sharing other intense parts of his story, which only made things more confusing for people watching. But then, the timeline takes another turn, because after his arrest, their relationship came to an end in under 5 years, closing that chapter in a way that still leaves a lot of unanswered questions. Before they officially went their separate ways, Jim reportedly made sure Marjorie was financially secure, and those details are now getting a lot of attention. People are digging into what really happened during that split. Reports claim he left behind major assets, including multiple apartment units and even a club, which is a significant amount by any standard. That detail alone adds another layer to how people are viewing the entire situation. These claims, often discussed by Tasha K, paint a picture of a relationship that did not just end emotionally, but also came with serious financial impact. There are also claims suggesting Marjorie moved on quickly after the split, and that detail has kept the conversation going strong, with people continuing to question how everything unfolded behind the scenes. The timing and circumstances around that transition are exactly what people keep questioning. It adds another layer to the story, making everything feel more complicated and tightly connected. According to what has been said, her next relationship was also linked to someone with a controversial reputation, which only made people look even closer at the pattern forming. Reports mention a man named Donnell Woods, who was allegedly connected to Jim through family ties, and that detail alone raised eyebrows fast. It made the situation feel even more tangled, with overlapping relationships and deep connections that people are still trying to sort out. At this point, many have started noticing a pattern and are openly talking about the kind of partners connected to Marjorie's past. There has also been a lot of confusion surrounding Lori, with some people claiming she might be Jim's daughter, but that is not accurate. Lori is the biological daughter of Marjorie and her second husband, Donnell Woods, and that detail clears up a lot of the speculation that has been spreading. Lori was born years after Jim was already dealing with legal trouble, which helps place the timeline in a much clearer way for anyone following closely. After that period, another serious situation developed when Donnell also ran into major legal issues, bringing even more attention to Marjorie's past relationships. Rumors started circulating quickly about what may have happened behind the scenes, adding more pressure to the story. There have been claims suggesting Marjorie may have played a role in how things unfolded for Donnell, but those are still unconfirmed allegations, even as the conversation keeps gaining momentum. Still, the talk around it kept growing, adding even more fuel to the controversy and keeping people locked into every detail. Not long after Marjorie and Donnell went their separate ways, she moved on again. And that is when her relationship with Steve Harvey started stepping into the spotlight. Going all the way back to 1990, that is when Marjorie and Steve first crossed paths at a comedy club. At that time, Steve was still building his career and did not have major recognition yet, so the situation looked very different back then. Their connection did not move forward, and as the story goes, Marjorie chose to walk away and take a different path at that moment. But fast forward to 2007, and everything had changed in a big way, shifting the entire dynamic between them. By then, Steve had built a successful career and was in a completely different place in life, both professionally and personally. When they crossed paths again, things moved quickly, and they decided to get married. This all happened not long after Marjorie ended her previous relationship, which made the timing something people still talk about and question today. In an interview with Tasha K, Jim Townsend shared another detail that grabbed attention right away. He claimed that he had spoken to Marjorie just 3 days before her wedding to Steve, saying she said, "I do," shortly after. That claim added even more curiosity to the timeline and had people looking closer at how everything lined up. He also mentioned that she had certain preferences when it came to men, describing how she would pay close attention to specific features when someone approached her. And Jim also made a surprising claim about Marjorie's preferences that caught a lot of people off guard. He said she did not like men with thick lips, which immediately had people reacting because of Steve. He even claimed she had a nickname for that feature, calling them soup coolers. And that detail alone added a strange and very personal twist to the conversation that people could not stop talking about. Then, the focus shifts to a moment on Steve Harvey's daytime show, where things took a more public and humorous turn. While responding to a question from the audience, Steve brought up a story involving Marjorie's youngest son, Jason. According to Steve, Jason once said, "You ain't my daddy," which clearly caught him off guard and set the stage for a quick response. Steve, known for his fast humor, fired back in a playful way, saying, "Where's this punk at?" and joking about stepping in as the one holding things down for the family. The audience laughed and treated it like light entertainment, but not everyone saw it that way. Some people felt the moment hit differently once you looked past the jokes. In his interview with Tasha K, Jim made it clear he did not appreciate those comments at all. He questioned why Steve would say something like that in public and suggested it might come from a deeper place. That reaction added even more tension to an already complicated situation, with different perspectives continuing to clash and keep the story alive. As the story keeps unfolding, more attention is being pulled toward how all these different versions are clashing head-on. Every new claim, every interview, and every response just adds more heat, making it harder for people to figure out what really happened behind the scenes. On one side, you have Jim continuing to speak out, sharing his perspective through interviews and teasing upcoming projects, while on the other side, Marjorie is standing firm and not backing down at all. That contrast is exactly what keeps people locked in, trying to piece everything together and figure out where the truth actually sits in all of this. At the same time, there is growing curiosity about how Steve fits into everything now, especially with all these past claims suddenly resurfacing all at once. Some people are questioning how much he really knows, while others believe he is staying focused on his own path and not getting pulled into the noise. Either way, the spotlight is not fading anytime soon, and every new detail just adds more pressure to an already intense situation at the center of it all. What started as relationship history has now turned into a mix of public statements, past connections, and ongoing speculation that refuses to slow down. Jim has also hinted that more information could still come out, which keeps people watching closely and waiting for the next reveal. The tension keeps building as more eyes turn toward the bigger picture, with many wondering what could drop next. The idea that there may be more details, more personal stories, and more claims waiting to surface is exactly what is keeping this conversation alive and growing stronger by the day. There is a lot of focus right now on how these claims could impact reputations moving forward. Public figures are always under a microscope, and when stories like this resurface, they tend to drag old headlines right back into the spotlight. That is exactly what is happening here, with past events being picked apart and discussed all over again in a way that keeps the pressure high. What really has people hooked is the uncertainty around what is fact and what might just be one person's version of events. Different voices are speaking up, all saying different things, and the full picture still feels unclear. As more interviews, reactions, and possible releases start coming out, this situation is gaining even more attention, and it does not look like it is slowing down anytime soon. Now, everything is reaching a point where the pressure feels higher than ever, and people are waiting to see if any solid proof or new details will finally surface. So far, much of what has been shared comes from personal accounts and interviews, which leaves plenty of room for debate. Some people are fully convinced by what they hear, while others are questioning every claim and looking for something concrete to back it all up. There is also a growing spotlight on how fast stories like this can spread and take on a life of their own. Social media, interviews, and online discussions are pushing this narrative forward quickly, and every new comment adds another layer to the situation. That kind of attention can shape public opinion in real time, making everything feel even more intense, unpredictable, and impossible to ignore. At the center of it all, the biggest question still has not changed: what is actually true and what is being exaggerated? Until more verified information comes out, people are left trying to piece everything together from different sides, and it is not easy. One thing is clear though, this story has grabbed attention in a major way, and everyone is watching closely to see what happens next. At this stage, the spotlight is not fading at all, it is getting even brighter. With every new mention, people are going back through old interviews, clips, and statements, trying to connect every detail and catch anything that might have been missed before. It has turned into a full breakdown of both past and present, with each piece adding more intensity to an already heated situation. There is also a clear divide in how people are reacting to everything. Some are siding with Jim and taking his claims seriously, while others are standing behind Marjorie and questioning his motives completely. That split is what keeps the conversation alive, because no clear answer has settled anything yet. Every opinion seems to pull the story in a different direction, making it feel even more unpredictable and charged. What really stands out is how this situation keeps evolving instead of slowing down. With the possibility of more interviews, responses, or even that book release, the story still feels unfinished and wide open. Right now, all eyes are locked on what comes next, because any new detail could completely shift what people think they know about this entire situation. So now the big question is still hanging in the air. Is Marjorie Harvey really following a pattern like some people claim? Or is she being misunderstood while standing firm on her truth? That is what has everyone talking right now, and the opinions are all over the place. Some people are believing the accusations and connecting the dots, while others feel like there is a bigger story that has not been fully explained yet, and they are not ready to jump to conclusions. This situation is far from settled, and the conversation is only getting louder as more people weigh in and try to make sense of everything coming out. With so many claims, perspectives, and unanswered questions, it is clear this story is not done unfolding anytime soon. If you have been following this closely, drop your thoughts in the comments because this one has people divided. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share so you do not miss any updates as more details start to come out.